breaking news. Firefighters are battling a fire burning in Tuolumne County near the city of Jamestown. It's now being called the Woods Fire. These images and video were sent to us last night when that fire first broke out.
All right, we want to show you a map right now where the fire is. It is burning near Jamestown and Sonora. Evacuation orders are in place for the Golden Dove Lane and Silver Pine Drive areas. Emergency personnel asking everybody get out of that area if you can. And firefighters have been working overnight to try to get this one under control.
Well, let's turn it over to ABC 10's Monica Coleman, who is there at the scene. Monica, what are you seeing this morning?
Good morning, Conchetta. You can smell the smoke here as multiple fire crews continue to fight this fire into the early morning hour. And I do want to bring in Emily Kilgore with CAL FIRE to give us the latest. Emily, what can you tell us? What's the biggest challenge this morning for fire crews?
The biggest challenge still remains the steep terrain and the heavy fuel loads. The brush is really tall in this area and it does have a tree overstory over it. However, crews were very aggressive last night and we did receive resources from out of the area. They were able to put in 10% containment, and the fire has been mapped by an intelligent flight, so we have decreased the acreage to 21 acres. But they did make good progress. The forward progress has been stopped on the fire, and crews will continue to construct and strengthen the containment line throughout the day.
And talk to us about what's happening behind us. I know we see multiple fire engines here. What is going on?
So the fire engines have hose connected to them that they're taking up the containment line and actively putting the flames out. But in this area, we don't have fire hydrants readily accessible or close together. So we're using a lot of water tenders to supply that water from the water tender up to the engine so that it can then go out to the crews on the ground.
And we just saw a line of crew members marching up this hill right here. Where are they going? Are they working on the ground? Or are we seeing a lot of hand crews here?
So we do have 8 hand crews assigned to the fire, and that crew was moving from one location where they were putting some containment line in up to another location where they have to establish containment line.
And talk to me about the evacuation effort here. How many people have had to leave their homes, and is there any word yet on when they can return?
I don't have an exact number of people that are being affected by the fire, but in the Gulf Link subdivision, the evacuation warnings and orders that were put in initially last night are still in effect, and there is evacuees that were at the shelter at the Tuolumne County Sheriff's Posse grounds on Rawhide Road in Jamestown.
Emily, we thank you so much for speaking with us this morning and the work of the fire crew members who have been on the ground this morning and last night, because remember, this fire started around 8:40 last night and it's continuing to burn this morning. We're going to continue to give you the latest. And again, if you are asked to evacuate at this time, please leave. Take all your valuables with you, those important documents. Walt, Conchetta, I'm going to go ahead and send it back to you.
What is going on out there, peeps? Oh yeah, a little fire in the backyard. Yeah, it's kind of crazy. In a small town, you could tell when something big happened. I went into the house, no problem. It's a little warm, slight breeze blowing. Come out a few minutes later, and all my neighbors are looking in one direction. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, it's either God, a UFO, or once again, it's a fire. And it was a fire. Now, let me tell you a couple of things about this that I was peeved about. First of all, the fire was caused because this campground is not even a legitimate campground. It's just these rich people own this land over there, and they've decided to let the homeless people squat there, which I actually don't have a problem with because they have nowhere else to go. But this is now the second fire within the last few months that were caused by the homeless people. So obviously, if you're going to let them live there, they should have to go to some type of campfire safety course. This is the third overall major fire that's been started near my neighborhood because of the homeless people. Most of them are so high on drugs anyways that they're not even caring or paying attention to the fire. So the fire got out of control. So we watched it come up to the top of the hill, and there really wasn't any wind. So I wasn't too alarmed about what was going on. It still was far enough away for me not to really get too paranoid. It took about 10 minutes after that to come back out and just take a quick peek and see how quick the fire had moved from the top of the hill coming down the middle of the mountain that's facing us. We went to go take a drive over there to kind of be nosy and look around. We got out of our vehicle to go look up, and there was news crews there. And one of them was about 8 feet from where I was. And I could hear the person start to say, "This has become a regular ongoing issue due to climate change." I'm not even kidding. So what's that old leftist saying they say all the time? Never let a good crisis go to waste. They're going to try to blame this fire on climate change. I was so pissed I interrupted the broadcast. I said, "This isn't climate change. Shut the F up." I literally threw the F-bomb out there. I asked them if they're from there. They were just trying to cut me off, ignore me. I said, "You from here?" And the guy's like, "No." I said, "Then you don't know what the hell you're talking about. This is because of homeless people over there." He tried to make an argument that, well, look, the fire probably wouldn't have spread so fast if it wasn't such hot days, droughts, to dry brush. Okay, so you want to rumble with the big dog, eh? No problem. I said, "Well, genius, here's the thing. In the state of California, those around here who are supposed to be running around doing controlled fires to keep these kind of fires from getting out of control in the woods decided one day that they would rather take the profits from a company that they privately owned that was responsible for doing controlled fires so that these kind of fires wouldn't get this out of control." Yeah, they decided to take profits instead of run around here doing controlled fires so that when we have fires up here, they don't get this out of control this quick. So don't blame climate control, because that's not what it is. This is a piss poor job of money management by people that have privatized a company that wasn't private, who decided to go ahead and take profits instead of doing what the job was supposed to do. And that is manage the woods and our forests, do controlled burns so these types of things don't happen. Oh, they don't want to hear that. When you're having debates, think of it as a sparring match. You kind of throwing jabs, right hook, left hooks. What the people from the left don't like is when you throw a flurry on them that they can't block, punching the hell out of them with facts and truth. They don't want that kind of stuff, especially if it's going to reach an audience that can hear this. That is the honest God's truth. Over here in California, PG&E was responsible for one of the largest fires we had. They had an option one year to take profits or continue to fund controlled fires so that our forest would not burn out of control whenever there's a major fire. They chose the profits, and then of course fires broke out. And of course the media just said this has to do with climate change. No, it has to do with politicians who are more interested in their own financial bottom line than what they're put in office to do, which is to protect the rights of the people, protect the people from crap like this. Now, I'm not saying one way or another that there's no such thing as climate control. I never said that. Obviously, we are in a drought cycle. This happens. I just happened to catch a news agency that immediately rolled into the whole, this has to do with climate change. And it just pissed me off. Now, the other thing about this particular fire where it broke out at, it started to come down a hill, and we have senior living that was kind of like in its path. It wasn't close enough yet, but just the thought of if we had a gusty wind and it got out of control, how quickly it could have got down the hill and gotten to where the senior living was. There were several emergency vehicles trying to evacuate all the seniors out of there so that they were not in harm's way. But this goes back to what I'm talking about. Forestry used to be able to go out there and do controlled burns to go out there and prevent this thing from getting this out of control. The fires were easier to manage. They were easier to get under control because they didn't have a lot of food to consume so it could spread faster. Now, I'm not saying it prevents fires, but it absolutely positively slows them down dramatically enough to where they don't get so out of hand. So anyways, it made a lot of people in our neighborhood evacuate. The rest of us had an option whether we wanted to or not. I have pets or like family members, and I didn't think the fire was close enough to my house to have to worry about it. So anyways, I just wanted to rant a little bit. I appreciate you guys taking the time to tune in. All right, I'll catch you later. I'm out.